We're just waiting for folks to sort of hear it. Okay, pardon the brief delay. The time is 7:37. It is a beautiful midsummer evening in the city of Davis. School is out, vacations have begun, traffic is lighter, and it seems like all is more tranquil. At least it feels that way to me, and I would like to call this meeting of the Human Relations Commission to order. First item of business is the roll call.
Commissioner Alvarez?
Here.
Chair Baker?
Here.
Commissioner Gordon?
Here.
Commissioner Kaplan? Here. Commissioner Cole?
Here.
Apologies, I had no microphone. I'll note that Commissioner Pickett's absent. Commissioner Tanimi?
Here.
Commissioner Wong Chen?
Here.
And I'll note that we've got Jasmine Garcia, our Davis DGUSD High School representative. Welcome, Jasmine. We've also got Councilmember Diaz and then Deputy City Clerk, myself.
Okay, very good. We have a quorum. Thank you, Carrie. Our first item of business then is approval of the agenda. Unless there are changes to the agenda, I would entertain a motion to approve it. If someone is willing to make that motion.
I'll motion.
Okay, motion by Dima, second by Connor. All those in favor of approving the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The motion passes. Thank you very much. We are on then to brief announcements from staff, commissioners, and liaisons. Carrie just mentioned that we are joined tonight by Jasmine Garcia, another one of our student representatives. And Jasmine, I just wanted to take a moment to welcome you and ask you if you'd like to introduce yourself or say hello.
Yeah, I'd love to. My name is Jasmine, and I go to Davis Senior High School. I'm an incoming senior, and I'm so thankful for Sawyer for stepping in. We have scheduling difficulties, but I'm here, and I'm super excited to be part of this commission.
Well, very good. We're very happy to have you, Jasmine, and looking forward to your contributions to the commission. We really need to hear the voice of students and get your perspective as we consider the issues before the city of Davis. I really appreciate your willingness to serve. So thank you. Let's.
Does your mic work? Kevin, does your mic on?
Oh, I'm sorry. I may not be.
What about the video? It's not working anymore. It was working. Are you recording? It's not
Yes, we are being recorded. I'm sorry that I did not have my microphone on, but hopefully I could be heard.
Can you see from here if it is recording?
Yes, we are being recorded.
These meetings are set up differently than city council. The reason you can see it at city council meetings is because it's live broadcast. Right now, this is just being recorded for replay at a later time. So on the screen, you'll have the agenda that you can reference.
Oh, okay. So it's different now.
Thank you, Carrie,
Yes, I saw
for
it.
clarifying.
It was live.
So we will then proceed with brief announcements from staff, commissioners, and liaison. I just have one, and that is just to thank everyone for coming out to staff the HRC to the Pride Festival a few weeks ago. It was a great event, and I think one that makes us all feel proud. So thank you all for your participation in that. And let me then just turn it over to others on the commission. Any other announcements or things you'd like to share? Okay. Seeing none, I will turn it over then to Carrie. There's a couple items that we've listed on the agenda. The first being new commissioner recruitment update.
Yes, thank you. So we did, or the city council did go through our new commissioner recruitment. We do have 2 members tonight whose terms are up, who we'll be recognizing and appreciating for all of their great service. Edgar and Connor, more to come on that later. We've got 2 remaining commissioners. Kevin and Allie will be staying on the commission. Thank you both. And then we also will be having 2 new commissioners appointed. They will be, their term starts July 1st, so for the HRC, their first meeting will be at the end of August. So I'll be meeting with them you know, as we get closer to that, doing their orientation and everything. So more to come, but just wanted to give you that brief update.
Right. Thank you, Carrie. We also have, is there anybody else?
Can I ask a question about your update, Carrie? For the August meeting, is that going to be like last year, which is a special meeting where we just meet each other, but it's somewhat of a closed meeting? There isn't, like, not closed, but a special meeting where there isn't comment on anything that's not on the agenda?
That'll be decided at a later date. That was the first time we had done that, and we'll evaluate probably in July and see if we're going to do that again, or if we'll just incorporate it into our regular standing meeting.
Okay, great.
I'm sure, yeah. Thank you for
Awesome.
asking.
Okay. Any more on that? If not, then we also have the next item, which is our outgoing commissioner appreciation. And as Carrie mentioned, we are unfortunately going to be losing two of our longtime veteran and invaluable members. I was sorry to see that unfortunately, the city clerk last week had already removed Edgar and Connor names from the list of commissioners, and that apparently was done for administrative convenience, but
So we should leave now.
they do continue to be members, and their term only ends after our meeting tonight. And I wanted to start by just presenting both Edgar and Connor with certificates of appreciation for their dedicated service to the City of Davis as a member of the Human Relations Commission. I might not read all of this, but I do think it's important to recognize and maybe kind of read into the record a little bit some of the recognition here. For Edgar, we start by saying, whereas Edgar Wong Chen served as member of the Human Relations Commission from December 1st, 2020 through June 26th, 2025, 5 years. And whereas Edgar's contributions to the Human Relations Commission's deliberations and recommendations were pivotal, with his extensive knowledge proving essential in advancing the Commission's mission of fostering mutual respect, understanding, and justice. And whereas Edgar consistently advocated for the rights of all individuals, demonstrating this commitment by leading the subcommittee for the annual Cesar Chavez celebration for many years, and actively engaging in various subcommittees dedicated to eradicating hate. And whereas Edgar participated as the Commission's liaison to the Campus Council on Community and Diversity, and consistently demonstrated unwavering readiness to take action and ensure successful outcomes, even when it meant performing tasks such as emceeing events, and I think you know what I'm talking about, it goes on from there, but I think those are some of the highlights. It's hard to capture Edgar's complete contribution to the culture, the community, and the thoughtfulness that we have tried to bring to this process. And Edgar has always been a strong and thoughtful voice, and we are going to miss you. You have been a fixture here. You grew up in Davis. You returned to Davis. You have made a commitment to this community service in so many ways. This is just one small piece of your contribution to the community. I think others know of at least some of the many other things that you do. We know that you're going to continue to serve and to make it Davis a better place. So thank you for all of your work on the Human Relations Commission. Okay, I will not ask for a speech, but I will ask Edgar and Connor if they want to give any remarks later, but I also want to continue to recognize Connor, for whom we also have a certificate of appreciation for his dedicated service to the HRC. And just some of the highlights I'll start to note, which is that Connor has served as a member of the Human Relations Commission from April 1st, 2022 through today. And whereas Connor's insights have been crucial to the Commission's discussions and suggestions, his deep knowledge and experience have been essential in advancing the Commission's mission of fostering mutual respect, understanding, and justice. And whereas Connor has consistently championed the rights of all people, showing this dedication by working on numerous subcommittees, including those focused on stopping hate, looking into policies to help with immigration issues, and organizing Commission's events. And whereas Connor has consistently kept the Commission informed about important local events and resources, both in the Davis community and at UC Davis. And it continues from there. Again, hard to capture. But I'll just add, I guess, my own personal observation, which is that I kind of feel like Connor has been kind of the heart and conscience for the Commission in a way. Connor, I think, is always focused on making sure that the most marginalized are considered, respected, included, and that is that makes me proud to serve on this Commission. Connor, I just want to thank you. I know that you will also continue to be a force in the community. You aren't necessarily always super high profile, but you are always doing the good work. So thank you for that. Okay, I'm going to present your certificates and ask you if you would like to make any remarks, if you wish.
Well, I can't believe this day is finally here. There were many times where I was like, this is hard. And, many moments where I was like, I don't, know how much more, I can do. I think my reflection on being on this commission for the last 5 years, was first when my neighbor, who was a city council member, asked my wife and I to apply for these commissions. And I actually didn't really even know what the commissions were. And he was like, yeah, you should just do HRC. I was like, okay, I'll apply. So I feel like in many ways I wasn't duped into doing it, but I was definitely, I didn't know the full grasp and the impact of what could be done. And I was very excited to join and get started and really kind of move the HRC into a new direction. And I've been, I think, joining this commission right at a time when our communities were being locked down, when our communities were being attacked. It really kind of was a wake-up call of seeing how anybody in the community can come and make an impact and try to have voices heard, to try to make a difference, as well as, advise the city council. I know that this commission has seen lots of ups and downs. In the last 2 years, it's been pretty rough. And, I want to just make sure that, it's hard when everybody's hurting. But I know that everybody on this commission cares a lot. I often saw myself on this commission as someone trying to be someone like a peacemaker, or trying to weigh out both sides, to try to hear everybody out. And I think that, it's important that everybody gets their chance to have their voice. Everybody needs to be heard. When people are hurt, they need to have a chance to heal. And this is a great venue to have that. I absolutely do not think this commission should be eliminated. I think it actually needs to thrive, especially in the time and place where we are in our society right now. There is so much at stake and so many voices not being heard and so many projects that this commission could be doing. There are a lot of communities being impacted. And so I was very torn on if I should continue with this commission, but I'm also, I think, at a place where I'm ready to keep doing something different. I'm excited that I will be playing larger roles at my children's school, as well as I will be playing larger roles in the community in other aspects. And I'm sure I'll be coming to lots of meetings like Leanne, where we'll just sneak in the back. I'll probably sit next to her and we'll just listen in and make some public comments here and there. I'm very proud as someone who was born and raised in this community to be back in this community. I moved my kids and my whole family from the Bay Area back here for this specific community. So I'm definitely dedicated to making sure this place is great for them and for your kids and for your family and your community. So it's been an honor to serve with all of you and to all the past HRC members that I got to serve with as well. And I'm sad, and at the same time I'm excited and looking forward and I'm hopeful what will happen in the future. So thank you very much.
Okay, Connor, you're up.
Okay, so I agree with all of that. I will try to follow it. I have been in Davis for a bit over a decade. I first came for grad school, but I have come to know and love the community, and I've tried to support it and improve it in a variety of ways. And one of those is through engaging with the city council and official city channels. There's a lot of different ways to support the community, but I do think that is one of them, even though it is sometimes quite limited in what it can actually directly do and what jurisdiction it has, which is an issue that has come up on this commission before. When I first started getting involved in city politics, that was maybe like a bit over 5 years ago. I started with the city council, but then I kind of expanded out and I started going to planning commission meetings, and eventually I became very interested as well in other commissions, including the HRC. So I decided to apply to a few different commissions. I applied to 4 of them, like social services, HRC, police accountability, and planning. And when I got on the HRC, I wasn't sure exactly what to expect from it. And like Edgar, I was excited to try to move it in a direction that was more structurally focused on addressing oppression in Davis. And even though there's still a lot of limitations, I think there has been some positive developments in that type of way. And I think the commission has a lot of roles that it can fill, and certainly trying to figure out how to actually address and prevent and reduce oppression, both on an individual level, but also on institutional and structural levels, is one of them. But another one, like Edgar was saying, is just listening to community concerns, whether through public comment or through surveys or through other mechanisms, because people have different comfort levels with different ways of expressing their concerns. But it is important for the city in a formal way to at least be aware of issues around harassment and discrimination and bias and whatnot throughout the city. So I think that is an important role of the HRC, while also trying to address those issues and actually prevent and reduce them to the degree possible within the restrictions of the official legal bureaucratic mechanisms of the city.
All right, well said. Thank you, Connor, and thank you again for all of your service to the community and to the commission. Okay, we will get underway then with public comment, the next item, unless there's anyone else who would like to.
Can I make a comment on this item?
Certainly. Mr. Hirsch.
I really appreciate this committee. When things are hard, you work the hardest. If it was easy, you wouldn't be really redoing something. I want to note that 16 months ago, there was a proposal by the two youngest members of the city council to merge this commission with the Civic Public Arts Commission, seeming those functions would be the same. And I would suggest that was backed off people who had actually been to this commission, knew how important the work was. And I would note you guys have 8 subcommittees reporting tonight. You've had other committees that don't really work seasonally. That is an amazing number for a commission. I go to lots of commission meetings, so that's amazing. This commission is very special. It's working very hard, doing lots of really important work. And I know the last couple weeks there have been lots of brickbats have been thrown at this commission because the work is hard and it's difficult. But I think you guys should give yourselves an applause, and of course I'd give it to Connor, who are our legacy members, are part of this culture that's the hard-working commission. And I think, and I'm going to read from this card from Dr. Seuss. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing's going to get better. It's not. Thank you for caring so much.
Thank you, Mr. Hirsch. And so we are going to have general public comment in just a moment, but this was just comment on the outgoing members.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I do have I live in Davis I moved here in 1990. I'm neighborhood of Human Relations Commission, and I served as a Historical Resources Management Commission for 5-6 years, 2019. But it's good to know, my name is Ning Wan, I'm a real woman, and I believe I'm a real human. I am glad to see we can talk about human relation.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, let's close this item then, and we will now go to general public comment. As we have noted in the past, this is a period for items not listed on the agenda or that are listed on the consent calendar. There will also be an opportunity for public comment for items that are listed on the agenda when we take up each item. And if you're not able to wait for an agenda item, you should feel free to use time to provide your comments now. Of course, we ask that we refrain from speaking on that item when it comes up on the agenda if you've spoken on it during this period. I think folks are familiar with the general protocol. We allow up to 3 minutes for individuals offering comment. There's a timer in front of me facing the podium, so you can track how much time is remaining. And we respect the same rules as the City Council in terms of decorum, so please do not respond during or after others' public comment, such as clapping and cheering, booing, etc. So with that introduction, let me just, before we go to the in-person public comment, ask Carrie whether we've received any general public comment in writing.
We did not receive any for this month.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much. With that then, I want to open public comment, and anyone who wishes to speak on within those parameters. Please, welcome.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm glad there is a commission called the Human Relation. Again, my name is Ning Wan. I'm the granddaughter of Lost Chinese Empire. I'm the legal owner of a huge farm called the Ning Wan Soap Park. And the story is very long. And I born in Woodland Gibson house, and my twin brother was kidnapped by the Chinese Communist Party. And the long story short, I want to let everybody know there is a hate crime in Davis. 1 week ago, I was just walking. I believe the communist specter, the waitress, somehow, made me fall. So I'm just walking on the flat floor. fought so hard. I almost, it just all bruised on my body, and it still hurts right now. From my view, my brother was kidnapped to communist China, and then my family actually set up the huge fund to replace him and switch the baby girl with the baby boy. So there is a huge fund under my name, Ningwan, Ningwam. And so I have classmates from China, that have the very high position at the United States. Kamala Harris actually was my classmate from China. And they had, the attack me. And I believe the communists, they are in Davis. And therefore, I want to say, therefore, like for communist factors, the labeled as WASP 1978, all graduated from Peking University. And Sharon Guo is one of them. Sharon Guo is Kamala Harris. And, I was put in the 5150 voluntary hold twice. And it's because, everything is about money. And I hope, I'm a real woman. I hope we have a lot of real or, genetically the human relation, and who actually care, who hate crime to a real woman. I feel my rights as a real woman has been severed and violated by those, communist factors that are eunuchs from China, ancient China, and the pretending to be women. One of them is Kamala Harris, Maya Musker, or Sharon Guo. And when we talk about the human relation, I want to introduce, I believe, this is the creator, his name is Xiang Dongzhu, actually who created all these, create the world. And he is crucified, he's a professor at UC Davis. I believe he is Elon Musk, he's also President Trump, and it's all my personal belief, and I believe that's true. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Good evening.
Good evening. I don't think I would even be here. Oh, I'm Alan Miller. I don't think I'd even be here if you'd actually allow the minority view to be heard. But now I'm just pissed off. When I'm pissed off, I write parody songs about how pissed off I am. This is to the tune of "Sympathy from the Devil" by the Rolling Stones. Please allow me to introduce myself. I'm the opinion that you don't want to hear. We're here to speak our truth, should that truth become unclear. I speak loud with a minority view, but the process, it went all askew. They scrambled and they found a reason just to keep us out of view. Pleased to meet you, hope you get my mission. But what's puzzling me is why we don't dissolve the HRC Commission. I'm the voice they leave off the record. Choo-choo! The truth they mute with their thumb. Choo-choo! City legal said they could include our view, but the HRC Commission, they played dumb. Pleased to meet you. Hope you get my mission. But what's puzzling me is why you don't dissolve the HRC Commission. Well, we get an extra minute, so I can do a kazoo solo. No, I'm just kidding. MAPA is not about healing. Choo-choo! And Zionists, they still blame through and through. Choo-choo! I shouted, who killed the Jews? When after all, it was all of you. So please just dissolve the damn commission. They want to platform the report they call MAPA. It just foments further division, would fuel the fire with a city council stamper. Pleased to meet you, hope you get my mission. But what's puzzling me is why you don't dissolve the HRC commission. Come on, get up. Come on, baby. Tell me what's my name. Choo-choo. Come on, honey. Well, tell me what's my name, choo-choo. Tell me commission. Tell me what's my name, choo-choo. Tell me chambers. Well, tell me what's my name, choo-choo.
You have me?
then for public comment this evening. I see a couple folks coming forward. Good evening.
Thank you for taking the public comment today for the Human Relations Commission. My name is Scott Stewart. I'm a Davis resident. I believe that the commission, first of all, deserves a lot of gratitude. Thank you for everybody's help in keeping everyone at the table. It's not easy, and I appreciate it. I have not been as involved in a commission probably ever, because of the different animosities that have been expressed at this forum. And I think inappropriately, it's unfortunate that people are taking advantage of this space to grind this commission emotionally and not reason with you about why they think something is persuasive or not. And in my opinion, the arguments about Jewishness and anti-Semitism should not distract and certainly not justify the genocide we are paying for and that our government is complicit in. The injustice of killing hundreds of thousands to force them out of their homeland is ugliness. It is our history, and it is a history that we do not want to continue. Expressing that opinion, we should not be forbidden to call out genocide and to protect Jews and all people from hate. These are not exclusive. But one should not be used as a distraction or a deflection of the other. Zionism, I believe, as it exists today, is a philosophy of supremacy. People are free to be Zionists, speak of Zionism, but Zionists, in my opinion, cannot be allowed to punish or diminish the rest of us for being anti-Zionists. Thank you for my time.
Thank you for your comment. Mr. Hirsch, welcome.
Thank you very much for reading me. Using people's names is a very powerful tool. I wish the council did that. It's been a very hard couple of weeks here. I op-eds in the Enterprise and the Council or City Council. I think we need to step back and realize we all have good intentions, and this is our beloved Davis. We're trying to make it together. We're trying to live in this community. We're trying to be positive. It's easy to throw stones. We all make mistakes. We all make mistakes. I make mistakes. I make statements I regret here. And I hope there's grace for everyone to accept one another and not assume bad intentions. There's a chance for recovery and redemption. And we need positive events that affirm this sort of faith in our community. The Celebration of Abraham had an event on Tuesday night. I passed out the interfaith service where lots of people came together and we shared our hurt. Hurt at Boulder, hurt at the DC shootings, hurt at the wars in the Middle East. We're all hurting, we're all afraid. I know people who have family in both sides of the shooting in the Iran-Israeli war. I hear these people and I hear their pain. It's just awful. It's a hard place to be. We're also uncertain. And this ceremony was something, we need more of those sorts of affirmation things and less attacking our individual motives. We all are trying our best. We're all afraid. The map report captured some of that. Maybe it's overwrought. Through the comments of City Council, I think they were overwrought, my feelings. But people are hurting here. We need to talk about it instead of just throwing stones at one another. I mean, I have my long signs here I pass out. And I have some more tonight if you want one to kind of do some small affirmations. But I think we should acknowledge that, and I think the Celebration of Abraham is the right sort of thing. In the past, Hey3 Davis had individual ethnic groups getting together, and like the Jewish American. We need to get together with cross groups. We need to talk with one another across these divides and see we're humans and acknowledge the different narratives we have. I think that would be the best thing we could do for our groups. And this commission, I know you want this as your intention, but I think let's not lose track of what our goal is. Fear is it's not just me, it's the fear that's driving us here. The fear I hear, and the fear can be grounded or not grounded, but it's a fear, so we need to address the fear. Thank you so much for listening, and thanks for your hard work. This is hard stuff. Thank you.
All right, thank you for your comment. Anyone else then for general public comment? Okay. Seeing no one then coming forward, I will wrap up on this item, and we will move forward then to item number 5, which is the consent calendar. There is one item on the consent calendar, that is approval of the minutes of the last meeting. And I just had one note there on the minutes, which was the misspelling the name of our former Commissioner Leanne Friedman, who actually is with us tonight, but if that could be corrected, that's the one thing that I noted. Any other comments, thoughts, suggestions, corrections, etc. for the minutes? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve.
Pardon me, I had a hate incident that I was to speak on. I was in the bathroom.
We haven't gotten there yet.
Oh, I'm sorry, I misread the order.
I'll motion.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the meeting minutes. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by, excuse me, Ellie. And thank you very much. And all those in favor then say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. And we are on then to item number 6, our regular items, beginning with the public forum on recent hate incidents in the Davis community. This, of course, is a standing item that we have had generally at our meetings to provide an opportunity for folks to discuss and receive input on recent hate incidents in the Davis community. We will open this item up, ask folks to limit their comments to 2 minutes, and please come forward if you would like to speak on this item. Mr. Miller, I think you indicated intention or desire to...
Oh, I'm just trying to figure out how to cut out a third of my comments. I guess I did, huh? All right, Helen Miller. The coffee house incident, I don't know how we don't want no two-state. That's, it's not like from the river to the sea. That's just a call for the elimination of Israel, which is genocidal, but we had no media coverage. Anyway, so Gary May needs to apologize or get Stefanik, or I will not forget this incident. As far as the recent article by Karen Levy, you know, she was blocked going in. See that as, see the movie Israelism. So this needs to be investigated. I don't know what happened. I mean, I got in with like a gigantic glass Star of David around my neck. So I'm not quite sure why she didn't get in. She doesn't seem to agree with certain people, such as a former mayor of ours, who on Facebook, under Levy's article, said, property rights do not survive 2,000 years of absence, 2,000 years, nor diluted, or your diluted gene stock can return and kick out people who've been living there. And then she goes on, based on the theory that they are descended from people who were there thousands of years ago. I can't do this in 2 minutes, what the hell. Anyway, there's a lot there, but some of it I even agree with, but there's also some like anti-Jewish tropes. This is, you know, COVID-19 mask, I'm sure. So what I want to know is, how about these, these jokes. So why did Sue Greenwald lose the election in 2012? Because of her diluted gene stock. And I don't get no respect, you know, neither does Sue Greenwald, but she thinks she has a right to be respected for her exclusive political speech based on the theory that she enjoyed a brief period of political dominance in Davis well over a decade ago. Hava Nagila, Hava Nagila. It's so good in 3 minutes.
Thank you very much.
So, I'm come back again. So I talked about, you know, what happened to me is, I remember it's just 4 days ago. I live at Rancho Yolo. It's a senior community. And I was just walking there. So I don't know what happened to me, but I fought so hard just walking. And I believe, you know, it is those Witcher, I believe it's Witcher, it's a communist spy. His name is Shannon Wu. It's not a real human. It was my classmates from China. And I want to know what help I can get because you know, they are not residents of Rancho, but they are like girlfriends of the senior residents, the males, and they don't like me. And they may force me out of the, you know, I bought the Rancho, the mobile house myself. And I want to know, you know, human relation, and so I don't have good relationship with those, you know, communists that are CCP spies, and what kind of help as a senior citizen live at a mobile home can get, you know, or city has any help. For I believe it's a hate crime. I fought so hard, you know, it's all bruised, and it still hurts. And I believe it's not a normal accident, it is an attack from the communists. So yeah, that's my question, or maybe, you know, I can get some answer, get some help from here. And I don't want those communists, you know, using their power to force me out of my home. I was out of my rental house, you know, to kick me out. I spent $9,000 collecting, you know, my personal belongings from a rental house. I divorced my ex-husband, you know, I'm a single woman, a real mother and a woman. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Okay, is there anyone else who would like to be heard then on this public forum regarding recent hate incidents? Mr. Stewart.
Yes, my name is Scott Stewart, and I want to express that he was expressed to the city council about Jews that are, quote, Jews that are not real. They are anti-Zionist Jews are unreal, and that this was repeated and it was heard as Zionist Jews are the only real Jews. I want to say that my family came from Germany. We have in Wilmars, I had Simon Newman as an ancestor. At Mellichstraat, I had Joseph Newman. In Ottensus, Isaac Mannheimer. And in Detweiler, Moses Blum. We don't have any family in Germany now. I really resent, and I think that any Jewish person who is not necessarily part of a synagogue or observant would feel more than a little intimidated by the language that was used at the city council. Good, unreal Jews are happy to call for the Israeli homeland to be pushed into the sea. I do not believe that. I do not believe that Palestinians should be pushed into the sea either. There is no need for this kind of bifurcation, and I think it's intolerable, and this community should stand up and vocally let people know that that is crossing the line. Real Jews don't trust the Human Relations Commission at all. I'm a real Jew, and I trust the Human Relations Commission, and I really appreciate your time.
All right, thank you for coming forward. Mr. Hirsch.
Thank you for indulging me for a third time this evening. I also caught the marginal, I didn't feel excluded from the Jewish American Heritage Festival, but I knew some people did. That was a marginalization of parts of the Jewish community, and further comments and similar to this. And I hope that the Anti-Semitism Committee addresses the marginalization of some Jews in this community by other Jews. I think that's important, or we should draw a clear line that basically this church and state should not just stay out of that, one or the other. I'm also concerned at the city council meeting on June 3rd, there was a woman who came up and cried. She said she was afraid of anti-Semitism, was afraid of leaving her home, afraid she was going to be attacked in her home because she had evidence on it. I noted, I looked back at the city, the 11 months preceding her statement, there was exactly one Jewish incident, anti-Semitic incident in the city records. On campus, I'm talking about the city, one incident. It was a graffiti incident. So this woman was clearly traumatized. If our problem is fear, where is that fear coming from? Is it from the incidents, the escalation of the incidents, people exploiting the hate and the fear, the incidents and making people fearful? Or is there a real problem? If we're trying to address the fear problem, the question is what's really going on here? And fear can traumatize people, and we shouldn't exaggerate it. And I think the NAPA report actually could be looked at because there may be some overstatement of some of the things in there too. But I think we see this in general, and we all need to be considered. Bringing out all these incidents may not help us. Diagnosing a problem you cannot fix may not be helpful. So we need to listen, but we also need to be careful how we accentuate these things. We can make things bigger than they are and make things afraid. So thank you for listening. Thank you for your hard work. This is a really hard problem.
Okay. Thank you for coming forward. Someone else is approaching. Good evening.
Good evening. Hi, my name is Josh Libney. As a brief comment, just mostly wanted to thank the previous commenters for calling out some stuff. I don't often, think of things as hate crimes per se, but I wanted to note publicly how offensive, at the very least, I found the comment about unreal Jews, this separation, which is the whole trope of you're not a real Jew. How disappointed I was that sort of what I consider vitriolic minority of people who have divided the Jewish community, and there's a lot of different groups in the Jewish community with a lot of different opinions, don't call that out. And to the point of the Jewish Heritage Festival, where there was a sort of requirement that you had to be a Zionist to participate, I think all of these things are not necessarily hate crimes, but they lead to this. You're not a real Jew, you're not a part of this, and it's a real problem. And I hope everyone involved in that will consider stepping back from that. Thank you for all the work you're doing, and I hope the anti-Semitism community takes this very, very seriously.
Thank you for coming forward. All right, is there anyone else then on this item? This is the recent hate incidents. We've heard from some things on campus. We've heard city council meetings and some other issues. Seeing no one else coming forward then, let me just turn to the commission and see if folks on the dais have any need to do some further discussion. And Connor, I see you're...
So I think that we should also mention, this is Pride Month, and there have been multiple events this month and toward the end of last month where there have been some queerphobic groups and individuals who have engaged in some forms of harassment and other such things. And then, in addition to that, there has also been some such incidents outside of some of the Davis schools by some of these same groups and individuals that are targeting students of those schools who are often perceived to be possibly like in the queer community. So that is something that I think is important to note as well, especially during Pride Month, and especially because a lot of these incidents have occurred over the past month or so.
Okay, thank you, Connor. Amir, did you want to recognize?
Yeah, so I'm just going to say my own opinion regarding what Scott and Josh just said, which I 100% agree with you personally. I think that trying to divide, calling some Jews more Jews than other, is A, not true, and B, definitely not helpful. That's my own opinion.
Okay, thank you, Amir. Anyone else then?
I just wanted to ask Connor if you knew if the school district was taking any action on what was happening at school sites.
Yeah, so for the school sites, because like I said, there's also been a lot of Pride-related events and such behavior occurring at those events as well. But when it comes to this type of stuff happening right outside of schools and kind of targeting students of those schools, I've heard a few different things, but I have heard that there are some administrators who have gone out to kind of like talk with the people and groups that are doing this, and to try to de-escalate and sort of like deflect attention away from the students and like those types of things. I haven't heard much beyond that. I think I have heard that there are discussions that are happening, or at least that people are hoping to happen, about ways to better address this in the future. Obviously now it hopefully won't be an issue until the fall, but yeah, I know that there is some discussion about how to address that, and there has been some intervention, especially by a few teachers and administrators, but I don't know the extent of it.
Thank you. Oh, I don't know if we,
Can I speak to your question or is
I think there's something.
is it out of order to speak to Dina's question?
She has an answer to my questions.
Okay.
Yeah, well, let's maybe hold that for another, it can potentially come up again in the future. I think we all kind of wrestle with this issue a little bit about how to respond to incidents that take place in DJUSD, to incidents that take place on campus. And we also recognize that we have a Hate Free Together organization that Michael and others have been involved with, that has stakeholders, including the university and the school district, and that, I mean, that we have some role in terms of functioning as a liaison with, in terms of the city structure, but no kind of formal power to respond to these, no staff with that kind of capacity. So, you know, I think I appreciate that these are issues that are very much on people's minds, that are very troubling, that we naturally want to respond to, and yet I feel like we're very limited, other than sort of providing this forum for people to try to help us understand and to raise awareness of these concerns. But I'm really looking forward to the work that I hope that we will be doing with Hate Free Together. And Carrie, I hope that that is on the long-range calendar. We've talked about it a few times. I wasn't sure if I saw it there or not, but how we go forward with that collaboration, I think, will hopefully help kind of light the way a little bit. So, forgive me if I stepped on your
No, not at all.
question, but.
Not at all. And thank you, Connor, for your thoughts on it. I also wanted to make a comment about Amir's comment. I just wanted to say, I think it's great that you said your comment, and I think it's valuable for people to have heard that. From hearing what we have heard and from what I have seen around this, I think it also pointed to some of the things that we did see in the MAPA report, that in our initial recommendation was about this division in the Jewish community. And we did get feedback that as part of the MAPA report, we really shouldn't include that, so we reflected that in the feedback when we voted, and we did not include that. But I do think that there's value in it being addressed, perhaps through an anti-Semitism committee, or another committee that's particularly focused on the Jewish community. And so I just wanted to know that I appreciated your comment, and I do think that it could be addressed when we reconvene in the next year.
Thank you, Dina. Anyone else then would like to be heard on this item? Thank you.
This isn't directly related to the Davis community, but two things. One of them is that there are still an increasingly high amount of ICE raids happening within the region, within the state. There are talks of having more dramatic impacts on sanctuary cities, which we are of one. And so I hope that this commission will be talking about that coming into who knows what may be happening from now until our August meeting. So if there is a committee and looking into that. I think there needs to be a lot more that we document and that we keep track of as far as like the threats to sanctuary cities. The second thing I wanted to bring up was that the University of Cincinnati has completely eliminated all of their DEI programs because of the threats of the federal government and because the state had passed a law through their pretty conservative statewide government to withhold funds. And so I just want you to know, especially folks who have ties to the university, it's happening. And you know, those programs were completely eliminated. And so, you know, these are just things that I can't see our state government doing that, but the threats of financial withholdings of federal funds are real. And I think the university is going to have a tough time trying to fight that back. But I think it's important to note that that is happening and that, you know, I hope UC and UC Davis is prepared.
Stuff. Okay, thank you, Edgar. Okay, seeing no one else who wishes to speak in this item, I think we can bring this to a close and thank the public commenters and the commission members for their contributions as well. I think we are then at our next item, which is committee updates, and we have a list of committees that are currently constituted and have asked these committees to provide their final updates if they have additional information to share. Committees are going to be closing out after this meeting. As we've already noted, we will not be meeting in July. We'll be resuming in August with some new members and revisiting the question of which committees folks want to continue to pursue and which may have sort of completed their work. But tonight what we want to do is just have final reports from our current committees and just kind of go through that list and see if there's anything that anybody wants to share. And I'll ask the public comment be held to the end of this item, and we'll take public comments on any of the committee reports. So then, with that introduction, let me start with the Campus Council on Community and Diversity, which of course is the inimitable Edgar Marchand.
Well, there was not a meeting since our last commission meeting. However, you know, I want to promote the book project that is going to be happening, but also to make sure that in the August meeting that there is a new commissioner that is appointed to serve on the Campus Council. So it's been a pleasure, Michael. Thank you for your whole team, and it was great kind of like meeting you in the beginning of all of this when I first joined the commission, and you know, it was a lot of, I think it took a long time to get it actually to come together and get the appointments done, but thank you for always being there, and I hope that we can continue a great working relationship outside of this.
I actually have a quick question on that for Michael. Michael, can you remind me in the fall when your first meeting is?
It will be in October, so we can be connecting throughout the summer once the commission is.
Okay, all right, more to come. I was just trying to decide if September might be a better meeting to appoint somebody, just because we've got some new members to allow them some time to learn about it and stuff. But it sounds like if we appointed somebody in September, that would work for your first.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It'll work.
Thank you.
I may just,
Michael, can I ask you just to maybe use the microphone too? I think folks want to hear you.
Excuse me, what is your relationship with the commission?
Please, Michael.
so I just wanted to also share regarding the Campus Community Book Project. The 25-26 project was announced at the last CCC&D meeting, and it will be, we are featuring Solito that is by Javier Zamora. He will be on campus at the Mondale Center on March 10, 2026. And we are also calling for nominations for the 26-27 book project season. And the theme for that is civil liberties. So anyone in the community can certainly nominate books that would fit under that theme. And the selection committee will be convening this summer to go through the selection process.
Thank you, Michael. Can you just repeat, if you would, the name of the title and then maybe some bits about what?
Absolutely. The name of the book is Solito by Javier Zamora. It is a memoir. It is about his journey and his experience traveling from El Salvador to reunite with his family in the United States. So certainly a very timely book, given what all of us are seeing and experiencing in terms of the immigrant experience.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thanks, Michael. Okay, questions, etc. for Edgar or Michael? If not, we will go then on to the Committee on City Holiday Observances. This is Connor and Amir, along with Lainey and Kate, who are absent tonight, but let me just turn to Connor and Amir and ask if there is a report from this committee.
I mean, we have not met since the last meeting, and as far as I'm aware, we have not gotten any information about the survey that was going to be done. So there is no additional things to report since the last meeting.
Okay. Amir, did you have anything you wanted to add? Okay. I just had one question. I think this survey that you're referring to, if I understood correctly, Connor, was something that maybe Hate Free Together was going to be doing, but maybe, Carrie, do you have any more information on that?
I wasn't really involved in it. It was something that I think was maybe, I don't know if it was going to be through Hate Free Together or through our comms department, and I'm not quite sure the intent of the circulation either. I haven't heard anything, so I'll have to look into it.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and thank you to that committee. The next committee in order is the Civil Rights Ordinance, and I served on that committee along with Ellie and Edgar Malchen. I just want to thank my fellow committee members for working with me. The Civil Rights Ordinance Committee has not met recently, but had been engaged in a couple of projects, kind of swimming upstream a little bit, but we produced two proposals. First, to, as you remember, recommend to the City Council that a revision to the existing Civil Rights Ordinance to make it consistent with state civil rights laws. That's a project that began in 2022 or 2023, and that was shared with city staff in summer of 2023. It was adopted by a vote of the commission back in January, but I believe it has not progressed beyond city staff, if I understand correctly. But Carrie, do you have any update on that?
Yeah, actually, the clerk and I spent quite a bit of time reviewing it, and it's now being reviewed by attorneys.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, they've had it for a bit, so I'll check them.
Okay, very good. Well, thank you for that update. The other proposal that the committee produced was to draft a complaint form so that the commission could carry out its function under the existing Civil Rights Ordinance to receive and investigate discrimination complaints. That work product was not presented to the full commission because staff needed some time to consider and comment on that before they wanted the commission to review it. I don't think we have any new information on that since that was done in April.
We don't have an update on that.
I see. Okay. Okay. Ellie, Edgar, anything else to add? Okay. Well, hopefully that work can continue in the future. Let me turn then to the next committee, researching ways to report hate incidents. This is Felix, Connor, and I was
Yeah, so there is now some draft language for a possible webpage on the city's website or like within the HRC's portion of the city's website to list resources around reporting hate incidents. So this kind of draft language for like an introductory blurb to that type of webpage emphasizes some of the points that have been discussed in past meetings around this issue. So the idea of trying to build a more positive community and this being a way to help do that rather than focusing on individuals who are committing or allegedly committing hate incidents, and also emphasizing that this is not necessarily a representative sample when reports come in of the hate incidents occurring, because people can be reluctant to report such things, and then also emphasizing that there should be both police and non-police reporting mechanisms, and that there are, and that's an important thing for the community to be aware of for those who are hesitant about reporting things to law enforcement. So yeah, there's some draft language here, and if the commission in the future is interested in continuing to pursue this, then I am happy to forward along that language to anyone who is interested. Felix and Kevin have obviously already gotten it, and this could be done with a similar subcommittee in the future, but it could also be done with a like website redesign subcommittee in the future as well. So that is where that subcommittee is at.
For this item. Okay. Well, thank you for that report, Connor, and for all the work that you put into thinking through this issue, which I think is an important one, about how we allow folks to come forward with their concerns in a way that is, doesn't deter them or intimidate them, which I think is an important goal. Thank you for your work on that. The next committee then is inquiry into discrimination against Muslims, Arabs, Palestinians, and allies within the Davis community. And I will turn to Gina and Ellie.
Sure. Been a lot of discussion on this subcommittee. We produced a report that we presented on in early April. We heard community feedback, we revised our recommendations, which we then voted on as a commission at the end of April. And now we are waiting for those recommendations to be considered by City Council.
Thank you. I just wanted to add that there has been some confusion that has been presented at City Council, and so, or I've seen through some of the City Council conversation, and I just think it's good to note. One piece of confusion that is coming up is that the MAPA report is, it's essentially, it's done, so that's just one thing to note. It is not an ongoing thing. It is complete. And something that keeps coming up, or that has come up in comments, is that the vote is on the report, but that's actually not really the case. We were really clear in when we voted for it that what we were voting for was that the report would move forward as context, and that it was the recommendations that we would like to have voted on. So that has been confusing for the public, and so I'm hoping that as it goes to the City Council, it's clear that the vote is for the recommendations. Yeah, and so I just wanted to make sure that was clear. The other thing that has come up too that has been confusing for the public is that you had the recommendations as an addendum to the report, but the report was not actually updated because for reasons of public record, you need to have the original report that was presented on the 2nd, but it was not what we ended up voting on in terms of the recommendations. That's caused some confusion in that people are linking to a document that is from the original meeting in which we presented, doesn't have the updated recommendations. I've worked a little bit with Carrie to find ways that we can, within the means of still not changing the original, make it clear that the recommendations that were voted on are a different set of recommendations than what are in the original report. I just want to make that known. I think it will need to be made clear and known to the City Council, but I also hope that the public, and we will be going actually through some website recommendations, and hopefully some of these things might help, because I think what people tend to do is really the only way they can get to this data or this information is go to the agenda item. And so if people see, oh, it was discussed on the 2nd, they go to that item. They don't necessarily know the story that like actually what was voted on was on the 24th. So just noting some confusion that hopefully we can help clarify over time.
Thank you for that clarification and the update, Ellie and Dima. And I think that completes the report from that committee. The next committee is the investigation and documenting incidents of anti-Semitism and discrimination in the city of Davis, proposing strategies to combat it. This is a committee with Amir, Laney, and Edgar. And let me ask Amir and Edgar, since Laney's not here.
So the committee met and we initially met with representatives of some people from the Jewish community. They presented to us their documentation of anti-Semitism in town, on campus, and within the TJUSD. The committee then kind of reflected on that and decided that it had little appetite to create a report that documents and provides recommendation, and rather focused on trying to create a proactive, positive event, which turned out to be the Jewish American Heritage Month celebration, which we partnered with members of the Jewish community in town, and together we pushed that forward, and that event took place, as all of you know, and it was very successful in our minds, and the people that were there were very appreciative. And I think that there is definitely room for more work on the topic, but I think that it needs to be better defined, the scope of this committee, as we kind of reconvene with the next commission in August.
Edgar, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, I'll just add that I think the event was very successful. I think, everybody who attended got a chance to celebrate their culture and got to really kind of come together through art, through dance, through food. I know my family was able to come out and my kids didn't want to leave. So, I think there's definitely room, as Amir said, when I think everybody comes back into fall to see where this committee can go. And I'm very excited to hear where it goes.
Okay, well, thank you, Amir and Edgar. We will move on then to the next committee. We've got two more left. The last two are, first, the Sanctuary City Committee that Connor referred to earlier. This is Felix and Connor, along with Laney and Kate Snow. And one of the most important issues, I think, as others have recognized, that we have to deal with both currently and probably in the future. So let me ask Felix if there's an update or a report. Okay.
Yes, last we met, we spoke about some resources the city has available, or at least since the resolution was last reaffirmed. So Carrie shared with us the yellow border cards. It's a resource card that the city has printed and distributed. So we are going to look at updating the yellow border card and what updated information needs to be added to those cards, and hopefully get some idea of what the distribution of those cards looks like and where where we want those cards to go in terms of city offices or beyond that. We talked about the working on a publication of a one-time newspaper or informational guide filled with know your rights information and resources the city of Davis or Yolo County have available to community members. Lainey shared with us, and I think she has an example of a similar publication that was she found while she was traveling, I believe it was Seattle, and she found it really interesting and really informative and super cool. So she thought, why can't we do something like that? And so we are going to discuss that, and then probably reach out to Carrie about what it would take to make something like that a real thing. And it doesn't have to be anything, I mean, we have that could be a combination of that idea with the already existing yellow border card, which sort of already covers some of that, and maybe, working on creating something that will meet our needs in that sense. We talked about ways that we can educate our local businesses about their rights as it pertains to their employees or their patrons, and ways in which they can support those people, their community. And then we also just wanted to hopefully, and rightfully so, reinstate the subcommittee for the upcoming session. So that's all we've discussed so far, and we look forward to meeting again to continue working on this. Yes.
Question?
I have a question.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of stuff put out on how people who may be afraid of being picked up by ICE on what to do, but I haven't seen that much stuff on what residents can do. I want to know if I see something. What am I able to do within my own rights to protect, individuals who are trying to be taken by ICE agents? I want to know, what within my rights do I have? Can I see a lot of stuff on social media right now. People demanding to see ICE agents' faces, demanding badges, all these different things. And so, to make sure that I'm videotaping. I'm wondering if there's something out there for just general residents to know what they can do to help in that way. So maybe something to look into. But I'm really curious because, I don't want to just stand idly by. But I also want to know what I can do within my own rights, and then know if I have to extend beyond that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good point. Thank you.
May I comment, just because we are going into a break? There are a couple organizations that provide good information. NorCal Resist and Migra Watch are two. I think Migra Watch actually has a hotline that you can call if you do see something that's happening in your neighborhood, that you're worrying about your neighborhood, your neighbor, or someone being taken by ICE. So that's one resource.
I've seen those. I'm just more wondering, is there something that we can put out as well? Just that complements that.
Yeah, that's kind of what we're thinking along the lines of in this magazine or newspaper. Something bigger with more, topics to discuss, rather than just, the card is great. I don't know if you've seen it. Carrie sent it to us. It has, it
refers to the resolution and again reminds us that the city of Davis has been a sanctuary city since 1986, I believe. And I had to list some resources that are, some of them are outdated because the last time this was printed was in 2017. So yeah, having a newspaper or a magazine or something like that, where we can include, you know, more information, possibly even some, you know, reach out to some of these organizations and maybe they can put together some, you know, bits of information or something that they would like to communicate to the community. That would be something that we're discussing now.
Can public comment, make a comment on the topic?
We're going to hold public comment until the end, and we've got just one more to go, unless there's anything else. Connor, would you want to speak on it?
Yeah, so first, I think Edgar mentioned or alluded to the subcommittee earlier, but I am obviously very passionate about this topic as well. So yeah, like Dima already mentioned Negro Watch, but that is a very like good program and training. So I recommend people like go to one of those trainings if they haven't already, or even if they have. NorCal Resist holds them every few weeks or so over Zoom. And they're really useful to like know your own rights around supporting people who are being targeted by immigration officials, in addition to like talking about the rights that people who are being targeted themselves have. But one of the big aspects of it is like what bystanders can do in terms of observing and keeping track of things and whatnot. Also, in terms of filming, since that was mentioned, just very briefly, like with all Cop Watch, it's important to only film the law enforcement themselves and not, if possible, filming the people who are being targeted by the law enforcement. But then the other thing that I did want to mention is on the topic of like businesses having potential trainings and like plans around how to support targeted communities, whether workers or customers or just the general public. There's a resource that I found recently that's called fourthworkplace.org. So the number 4th workplace.org, and it's about the Fourth Amendment rights that businesses have. Obviously, that's not the only resource that should be used for such trainings, but I do think that working with businesses to come up with these types of plans is something that the city could concretely do, and there is at least one framework already available in this website for potentially doing so.
Okay, Connor, thank you. Okay, does that complete your report, then, Felix? Great, thank you. Seeing no other questions, then we'll go to the final committee, and this is the webpage review. Felix, Lenny, and Team.
Great. We actually have a little kind of presentation. And can we go to the second slide? I don't know if I can control it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay. So I just wanted to note that this the outline that we're putting are just preliminary thoughts from the subcommittee. We know that the subcommittee may or may not be reconstituted when we come back into the session after the July break. We also know that these suggestions are going to require review by various teams, and we do have some questions that are mostly about like what can be done on the website. So a lot of this is just kind of like surface level ideas. The hope though is that now that we have this kind of on the record, if any subcommittee wants to take this up, they kind of have it as something, and perhaps it's also something that whoever's building the next website, because I think there is a new website coming up, they might take a look at this and see them as recommendations for the future. Okay, so next slide. Okay, so we had some ideas specifically for the homepage. We thought it would be nice to have kind of like a welcome video from our commission explaining what we cover, who we are, how people can get on the commission, how people can come to public comment or email us. I found, whenever we've done tabling, people have very little idea of how the commission works, how to get on it, and so just a nice little, people like to watch videos, so some type of video could be nice. And the thing, a lot of people don't really know how they can apply to be on the commission, and it's not on the specific page, so having it on that page would be good, as well as how people can come to the meetings and email us. We do have, I think on the right, there's something about the meetings of being every fourth Thursday, but I just think some information about how you can come and public comment could be helpful. And then maybe some commissioner bios would be helpful for people to know who they're going to be seeing when they come to speak. And I kind of noted that these could also be, we noted that these could be, if it's too much for the homepage, they could be links on the right. Okay, next is the ideas for that right nav and any additional pages. So one thing that I mentioned earlier is that documents that are presented during the HRC are often very difficult to find unless you go essentially to the agenda item in the calendar for the agenda, which I think is not necessarily how people intuitively think to find it. They think, oh, I was at an HRC meeting, I'm going to go to the HRC to try to find this thing. So if there could be an area to find all of the agendas and the documents, that would be wonderful, and that could be in the right column. Also just some information on the subcommittees that are running, so, and any information about them could be on the nav. Also, we could have an FAQ to link to from the nav. We'd have an FAQ page with all of the questions that we get when people come to the table and ask us questions about it. You know, there's just some very basic questions that people have about what the committee's about, how they can come, how they can be involved, how could they apply, stuff like that. Also, some key resources could be a page, and I think this could be really simple, but we talk a lot about resources, and if we could just collect them into that page, as well as a link to Hate Free Together, where they're going to get a lot more. And then events, a link to the events that we are endorsing, as well as events that we support, like the MLK event and the Cesar Chavez event, with information on when and how to get there, or when and where it's at. As well as, it would be really, really great to have on the right-hand column a little section that can have updated information about if the time of the meeting or the place of the meeting has changed. Because as of now, even when we have been moving to the senior center or had a different time, that's not changed on the website. So unless people go to the agenda, they won't know that. And so that people might miss the meeting because of it. Next page is the content, the last one, site content updates. These were just some things that we noticed that the Sanctuary City page might be an area that people want to update now that we're talking about it more, and this could be the great area, Felix, for the newsletter. Like, that could be posted there. Also, we saw that there were some old MLK event info, and it should be potentially archived, and we can put up the new 2025 video. And then also, at the time of pulling this together, the 2025 minutes were not being posted. So we just didn't know what was going on there. It was only 2024 minutes. That may have changed. I did not check it in the most recent days. Last thing was just some open questions that we had. One was just like how can the site get updated? Kind of wanting to understand a little bit more about the content management system behind it, who can access it. My reason for asking that was wondering, can commissioners or our chair be able to do small updates? We also have a Facebook page that I think was being more active and is less active now. And then had hoped that maybe this kind of presentation and recommendations could maybe go to the web development team that's building the new site, just so they have these as potential requirements for when they build the site. I know that from looking at the website and from kind of conversation with Carrie, it's likely that this kind of has to be a universal change, so like everybody's commissioner's page, we need to have similar things. So it would be good for the website development team to think about how they could build these things in for all commissioners, so that, or all commissions, so that all commissions can get the benefits of it. And that was it. I said, you need the web development team, but I think this commission is actually not going to be around unless it decides to come again in next year. So hopefully just having this on the record and having it be something that can be referenced, some of these updates could potentially get made. And that's it. Felix, did you have anything to add? Because Lainey's not with us today.
That was really, really great.
I just have one question, Jimmy. You alluded to the fact that the city has apparently got a project underway to revise certain elements of its website. You've mentioned that in the past. I'm just not sure about the timing and whether we think we can potentially dovetail with that, or is that train going to leave the station before we?
Well, I hope I'm not missaying that. I think I had heard it at one point, and so the assumption when we were meeting and discussing it was that this would be something that could be part of a bigger update that's happening.
I'm not involved in that update. Lisa might know more, but I do believe it's going to be a long-term project, and it involves multiple other things that actually have to happen. So there is that component of it, which is going to be quite large, but my understanding is during that process, it'll also maybe be looking at sort of design elements and everything, and I'm certainly happy to share the ideas that you guys have worked on with Jen. I think it's Jenny leading it, so it's easy for me to share these ideas with her.
That would be great.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Well, I would please tell.
Yeah, I just want to thank the committee for working on this. I think that this is such a critical inclusion issue. It actually makes me kind of angry how hard it is to find information on this website. And it just creates such a barrier to access. As somebody who kind of, I applied to the HRC not because of any city website, but because of like an email that I got on a listserv. Like, I don't think I would have ever found this. And even once I applied, trying to like do research on this commission, not having had previous knowledge about it, was incredibly difficult. Like, it just doesn't make sense. So I really appreciate like the effort and care you put into this research, and I think that it's kind of critical to our mission. This isn't really like an add-on, but it's actually at the core of how we are communicating and being accessible to the public. And I think that something for us to consider in late summer is not only like a committee that's thinking about working with this website development team, but also how we want to maintain this website going forward. I know that we can't have like indefinite standing committees, but it might be worthwhile to consistently make a committee that for the year is going to make sure that our minutes are getting up on the website, that our documents are accessible. It just seems like kind of logistical work that we need to be doing. So thank you for getting us started with this.
I would like to add my thanks to the committee as well. When I joined the commission in 2022, this was an item on the long-range calendar that had been there apparently for some significant period of time before I joined. And this committee is the first one to like really turn that into something concrete. Your expertise obviously shows in the presentation that you've given us, and I'm just really, really grateful for the thinking and the effort to reach the goal, which I think we all share. But your hard work has really kind of gotten us to another level for the first time, at least in conceiving about how to make this concrete. So thank you for that. And on behalf of my fellow former commissioners who are no longer on the commission, who had this desire how many years ago. So, much appreciated. Comment?
Yeah, no, I also think that this is a very important aspect of the HRC and of the city and commissions more broadly, but definitely the HRC in particular. Like the way that communication is done and like the accessibility of the commission and the different aspects of the commission, especially since it is often a place where people can bring their concerns and discuss issues that are happening in the community. And yeah, this has definitely been on the long-range calendar, or was prior to the subcommittee being formed, was on the long-range calendar for quite a while. So I'm very glad that this subcommittee formed and came with these recommendations and like a comprehensive initial like overview of some ideas. And I also wonder, related to Ellie's point about possibly having a subcommittee that maintains the website, but also you can't have like standing committees unless their agendas are publicized and their meetings are open and whatnot. I think the council basically reevaluates and reconstitutes its subcommittees every year or two, and we're sort of doing that, it seems, here, so in this meeting. So I wonder if that could be something in general going forward, that type of idea of just subcommittees are just reevaluated and reconstituted every year or two, and if that's a way to make it so that they're not ad hoc committees, even if they end up doing similar work.
Okay, thank you, Connie. Yeah, I think there's a real desire for some follow-through here. It would be really a shame not to take advantage of all the great work that the community has done. All right. If there's nothing further then from the web page review committee, let me open it up for public comment. I see Mr. Hirsch coming forward. Welcome.
As I commented before, the scope of what you're doing with your 8 subcommittees is pretty amazing. This is really, your commissions really stands out compared to other commissions. The planning commission shows up and reads stuff. You guys are proactively looking for opportunities to make the point. That's to be noted. I'm glad you were merged with the Public Arts Commission. There was a comment made earlier about the synagogue having, excluding certain people. That is wrong. The synagogue is very inclusive. So I want to make this clear, so we shouldn't, well, some people may comment that that doesn't include the synagogue. But they're having multiple times on this thing. City webpage, I think that's great. I think the word alleged needs to be put in every statistics, because basically someone coming up and said, I've heard somebody say something, third hand or whatnot. I think alleged is really important. And that would be one of the things I would have commented about in the map report, for it to be heard. Just hearing people writing it down, what do you expect to happen? And there are also allegations. Do we want the government to collect these things so that we can come in and when someone makes a bad, racist, Islamophobic, anti-Semitic comment at a school baseball game, that the police would come down and talk to those people? There's an implication that if they give these things, we're going to do something about that. If you look at climate studies, there's something called diagnosis damage. If you diagnose a problem you cannot fix, you've made things worse. So I think we need to be careful what we're trying to collect. And someone suggested on June 3rd at the city council meeting that we start turning this stuff into the FBI. So I think we need to be thoughtful about what we're doing, what we're promising and whatnot. And the third thing is basically something for the anti-Semitism community. I'm concerned that Jews are going to be scapegoated in this community. Not happened yet, but the setting up is happening. The setting up is happening, and there are Jewish forces that are out there that are not in our community that will cause this to happen. They are defunding our university, and they're doing it in the name of fighting anti-Semitism. So if thousands of people in Davis lose their job because of the defunding of university, not the Jews locally did it, but basically you can see the connection. It's pretty easy to do. And the ADL has basically said they support I don't believe we should totally shut down the universities altogether. But you know what? God bless Education Secretary McMahon. He basically says there's a straight line between Occupy Wall Street and Black Lives Matter to the river and the sea and anti-Semitism. That's what he says here. This is ADL. The ADL is just not us. We need to distinguish ourselves from ADL in this community, and the anti-Semitism committee and my Jews and my Jewish need to distinguish from ADL, because ADL is toxic. They are basically saying the entire left is corrupt and trying to take down the United States. This is on Pass Out. This is an interview that he gave in the last 2 weeks. This is really critical. Jews will be scapegoated unless we differentiate ourselves from this, the defunding of the university. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment, Commissioner. Mr. Stewart.
Just going to take the opportunity to thank the commission again for a lot of work. And just to point out that the reports that come out from the end of this session are things that should be honored by the city. And I think it's a distraction and a necessary distraction not to have the MAPA recommendations clearly stated and on top of what the city is actually considering, because there's a lot of flack that's being created, and I think that's something the city can do something about. The other part of it is I'm looking forward to the Anti-Semitism Commission and it being an inclusive process that we are, as a community, address, because I think those concerns are real, and I think that we all need to take part in them. So thank you for the time this evening.
Thank you for your comment.
Kevin, can I just respond really quickly?
Sure.
Just for Mr. Stewart. The MAPA report link for April 24th does have the recommendations included directly with the report on top of it, in addition to the separate recommendations. So those are included. The link for April 2nd, if you go to the website, that was the original presentation that you did without, updated recommendations. There is language on the website now that, this is kind of what Dima was referring to earlier, that says next to that link, please see April 24th for the full commission recommendations. So hopefully that's gotten a little bit more clear and will make things a little bit easier for people to navigate as to what the full commission recommended.
There's some wayfinding there. Thank you, Carrie. Okay. I just want to offer finally my thanks to everyone of my fellow commissioners for the work that you have all done to ensure that our community lives out the values that we profess. And we have certainly had some long meetings, but what most folks may not know is that in addition to those long meetings, there's all this committee work that is being done. And I feel like this, I think others have kind of reflected on it, that this has been one of the most productive groups that we have had in the recent past. So it is thanks to all of you and the countless volunteer hours that you donate because you want to make Davis a better place. And despite the criticisms that have been alluded to, I'm proud that we have sought to let people be heard, that we have tried to listen patiently and respectfully and provided a forum for discussion of, I think, some sensitive and difficult conflicts that I nevertheless think are worthy of attention if we are going to share a robust and resilient community. So, in addition to the MLK event, the Cesar Chavez event, and the other events that we put on, it takes a lot of work, but I think it enriches us all, and it's because of you that those things happen. So, thank you. Okay, if there is nothing else then on committee updates, future agenda items and long-range calendar is the next item. There is an attachment, as you will see, to the agenda that notes the existing long-range items, but that will be revisited, of course, when we reconvene in August. if there are sort of suggestions, I think we've kind of covered a lot of it in the conversation that we've had this evening, but Carrie, you wanted to?
Just a quick question, Kevin, you had mentioned not seeing the Hate Free Together.
Yeah, I just skimmed really closely, or quickly, so I mean.
Okay, I
missed
just,
it.
there is one on there, I just wasn't sure if you were looking for something different.
Oh, if it's there, it's fine.
Okay,
I
okay.
may have just overlooked it, I'm so sorry.
No worries at all, I just wanted to make sure we were on the same page.
Connor?
Yeah, I just want to mention a possible clarification because it's possible that I misspoke on the last item, and this is relevant to the long-range calendar anyway. So basically, in summary, I wonder if reevaluating and reconstituting subcommittees every year or two would help make them ad hoc subcommittees rather than standing committees.
Okay, to be continued, I think, is the takeaway from that. All right, any further thoughts, discussion, et cetera, on long range at this point, or we will, other than, oh, I'm sorry.
Lawn signs available at the end of the meeting?
Okay, I will take that as public comment on item number 7. Thank you, Alan. And if there is nothing further, then I will bring us to a close.
Can I say one last thing?
Yes, please.
I just wanted to say it's been a pleasure. Yeah, I'm gonna miss everybody. I consider all of you, not just colleagues, but friends. And I hope that now I don't have to worry about violating any program. That was just really annoying. So, with that, please reach out, keep in touch, and I'd love to see you guys for coffee or lunch.
I'm going to second that and say that I will also still be around the community and would also be down to, have conversations and go to events and all of those types of things the same way that I have been, but now without the bureaucratic and legal potential issues associated with doing so with fellow commissioners.
I have one last privilege. Thank you, Carrie, for all you've done, for making us feel welcome and organized, we all consider you a dear friend. So thank you for everything you've done for this commission.
Thank you guys as well, and I was going to also just give a shout out to Edgar and Connor. It's been my privilege to get to know you both and to work with you on so many different things, and I will most definitely look forward to seeing you at all of the events and the events.
She's going to make you volunteer.
I
She has things in mind.
Maybe so, but truly, thank you both. It is really just been wonderful, and we'll miss you dearly. Thank you.
All right. And with that, I think we are adjourned. All right, thank you very much.